So we've got about 2 weeks of Overwatch under our belt, and 35 hours of playtime later, 275 matches, and that doesn't include ones against AI or practice. I thought I'd go over some concerns people are having right now, and plus also some, light at the end of the tunnel stuff, some good stuff, some bad stuff. I'm going to preface this whole video by saying this. I love this game. Like, when I don't have anything else to do, this is what I go to choose to do. I've played, like I said, 275 matches on this thing. 153 wins, so I'm above 50%, which is awesome. But I'm already starting to feel some of the fatigue as well. But it's a different type of fatigue than most people would probably be worried about. What I'm more worried about is content fatigue. So we got 12 maps, 21 heroes, and a whole bunch of minor unlockable collectibles. So what people's main concern is, and what one of my main concerns is am I going to have enough content to avoid getting fatigued with the game? So I thought I'd address that, go over that a little bit, get some opinions of everybody else, some opinions on Twitter, some opinions of my friends, and feel it out, feel what we're looking at. So first things first, let's talk about the gameplay of this game real quick. In typical Blizzard fashion, it is a polished product. Now I know Blizzard gets a whole lot of hate about bugs, this, that, and the other. Problem is, when you have as big of a fan base as a company does, such as Blizzard, you're going to have what seems like a disproportionate amount of hate mail versus normal mail. I'm on the pro side generally. I mean, the only times I've been rightfully angered was when Diablo launched and the content dropped in World of Warcraft. So they're not infallible. They do make mistakes, but I mean, you got to look at some other mistakes of some other gaming companies. Let's take like Ubisoft, and let's take Electronic Arts. I mean, they've run two widely loved franchises into the ground recently. Blizzard's franchises tend to last a lot longer. I mean, heck, StarCraft and Warcraft both are franchises that are as old as some of the people that I know in my life that I work with. Now the game is incredibly polished, it's incredibly fun, and it's surprisingly well balanced, except for, screw Bastion. But there are some glaring issues that I do feel need to be fixed in the near future. The first one is this, and it's a typical Blizzard argument that people make against the company. Now, keep in mind, I love the company. I love the games they make. But polished content versus lack of content. So, I mean, this content on this game is polished, incredibly so. But there's not a whole lot of it. I mean, other than collecting loot boxes to keep bringing you back and bringing you back and bringing you back, there's not much else there other than just the core multiplayer modes. Let's take another shooter like Call of Duty. Call of Duty's got a robust single-player campaign. It's got multiple modes and progressive unlockables that actually change the gameplay. Now, the problem with that type of gameplay, though, is that it will cause an imbalance in the future. Like EA and Activision and other companies that make other shooters have basically said that they know this creates an imbalance. That's the point of making them so hard to achieve. But once the game's been out long enough, it makes it where people don't want to play it anymore. That's why I've never been a big fan of FPSs. So the big question is, as far as content goes, is what's Blizzard plans for Overwatch? Is it a slow roll, keep the game going for 4 or 5 years type of game? Kind of like Hearthstone is, and World of Warcraft was, and StarCraft and Diablo are. Or is it more like an annualized shooter? I doubt Blizzard is going to go annual or anything like that with this game. That being said, they do need to come out with content especially for an FPS, much more regularly. World of Warcraft games like that, there's a lot more to do kind of on a side note. They like, oh my god, I can't go do raids anymore. Oh, well, I guess I'll go farm, or I'll go do this, or I'll go do that, or I'll go explore. It's not so much exploring you can do in an FPS. I mean, I spent literally an hour one night just playing around on custom maps, just learning the maps. But then I was kind of done with that. Like, there's not an additional thing I can go do. So the big question is how frequently are they going to come out with new, content for this game? Now, they're going to learn something very, very interesting in the console generation. That you can't be that profitable with coming out with free content constantly. I mean, let's take a good game like Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is coming out with content very regularly so far. However, the content is mostly paid with the exception of the mods. Now, I have been more than happy to fork over my money to get those Fallout 4 expansions and DLC. But FPSs, people are a little bit more wonky about. Now, I know Fallout's an FPS, but I'm going to call it an RPG. But people are a little more wonky about that. If you look at, Call of Duty, Battlefield, their engagement as expansions rolled out kept dipping down lower. You figure expansions would bring people back, but it actually does not. What happens is people get locked out of the expansion. Like a good example, let's say Battlefield 4 came out with some content. You didn't download the content, your friends did. Well, then you can't play with them as effectively because you're not going to be able to play the same maps and everything that they can. So the user base keeps going down and down and down and down and down. Now, it gives a little spike initially, but overall, expansions tend to lower FPS expectations. Now, what are some of the things that are doing right in this game? First off, the social aspect, I think, is fantastic. I applaud Blizzard's instant permanent ban hammer. Now, granted, some people are complaining, well, it's because they already got my $60. But this has got to be, so far at least, one of the most non-toxic FPSs that I've played this much. And that's kind of why I'm playing it. I don't like playing Call of Duty because I don't like being, shout racial slurs at me by a 12-year-old. Blizzard didn't have any of that with this game. They're not going to allow this to occur. Secondly, in typical Blizzard fashion, they've created a world that I'm invested in. The only downside to that is I don't have a story really to get myself invested in this world. I got a few cinematics, a few like animated shorts, and the trailer to get me invested in this world. And it's an interesting world. It's kind of like behind the curtain, there's this whole world that you'll never get to see. Now, you can go explore and learn little bits and pieces about it, but I would rather learn about it through a campaign of some sort. Now, obviously, this game is tailored towards Blizzard's new Esports initiative, and it's going to do well in that. I guarantee you. If one thing Blizzard knows how to do is how to promote esports. They're going to do fantastic with this. I actually spend time when I'm cleaning up my house and stuff like that, putting YouTube on and putting on competitive Overwatch matches and then just enjoying them while they're there. That being said, we need more content to keep us invested long term. The cool thing about like Heroes and your Hearthstone is about it. Basically, every 6 months there's something. Overwatch is going to need that to accomplish the same goal. This is still a 10 out of 10 game for me, and I'm playing the mess out of it. Now, I've experienced a little bit of fatigue because I've unlocked about half the unlockables for everybody, and now my loot boxes are pretty much coming like with 3 of them give me coins and 1 of them gives me something new, and the 3 of them give me coins and 1 of them gives me something new. Now, granted, I know I can go buy with the coins, but if what I'm missing is a legendary skin and I'm getting 15 gold coins off of a loot box drop, that's not helping me much. So, that being said, I'm still going to give this game a 9.5 out of 10. I'm still going to be playing it. I'm still going to be tweeting about it. I'm still going to be casting it. I'm still going to be putting it on YouTube. So before you go and buy and play this game, ask the community. And we'll tell you what we think. It's a fantastic game. It does need more content. But I hope Blizzard has learned from some past mistakes they've made and create content much quicker for this game. All right, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me at @hooftanky on Twitter. Or you can hit me up, like and subscribe to this page, and leave me a comment. Peace out, and have a good day at Overwatch.